I got the tarp set up in record time. Today it's really not that hot, but I've been rushing, so I'm quite sweaty. Temperature wise, it's about 63 degrees today. As you walk in here, it's raining. The forest is foggy, it's dark, moody. It's absolutely beautiful. As I was setting up the tarp, I was hearing thunder. That direction, it's definitely coming this way, it's getting louder. But right now the rain is really, really light. I tell you what, I'm just so glad to have this set up. That's always like the biggest worry when it comes to like a rain trip. It's always nice to be able to set up when you're dry rather than like setting everything up when you're already soaking wet and it's pouring rain. So far, it has not stopped raining, but it's light, like really, really light. I'd say if you were outside of the canopy of the forest here, you'd probably get soaked. But because the canopy is so thick and dense here, not much is getting through. It's more just like splatter, you know? The raindrops are hitting the top of the trees and they're exploding, just showering down. I'm still hearing thunder, but it sounds like it's 2 hours north, like it went around us. The chance for rain today was around 50%, so basically it was a coin toss. It landed on Tails, and I won. By the way, Tails is my favorite. What's yours? Comment down below. One thing that's an absolute blessing on this trip is the breeze. There's a breeze coming through the forest here, and it feels incredible. It's drying off the sweat, the rain. It feels really, really good. Now, you can see here with the tarp, the backside is a shield, but it's partially opened, and that's because I want airflow. Tonight, when I set up my hammock, this side is going to protect my hammock from the wind. But yet, while I'm sitting here, I can enjoy that breeze. Cheers, my friends, cheers. Oh man, that is some incredible coffee. I will have to flash on the screen what this is. It's like cinnamon something, but I tell ya, it is really, really good. What is also good is the weather. All of a sudden it's partly cloudy, the sun's popping out, the temperature's going up just a little bit. Maybe the forest can dry out just a little bit here, because tonight I'd like to have a fire. That is something that I will have to carefully consider whether or not I want to do. Everything in this forest is soaking wet, and I mean it, like absolutely sopping wet. It has been raining for over 3 days straight now. Yesterday this entire area was under a flash flood warning. Over 3 inches of rain fell in about an hour and a half. Then it went on to rain all night long, plus the rain that we got this morning and going into this afternoon. As far as the time goes, right now it's about 3 o'clock. The temperature shot up to 68 degrees. When I first got here, it was 63. Let's do the snap test. There's a snap there. I could get this to burn. There's no doubt about it. But, I mean, a few millimeters of this are soaking wet. The core is dry, but that's about it. There's a snap, but it's a little bit soft, and that's because this is saturated. I'll make a decision on that here in just a little bit. First things first, coffee time, refuel. Already, I have to say that I like this setup here. The placement of the tarp is perfect because the wind is coming up this way, hitting the back side of the tarp. My hammock will be on the inside, fully protected. It's a good setup. If you're doing all of your camping and backpacking on trails and whatnot, and you're staying at campsites, having a good site may not mean much to you because they're so common. But when you're off trail most of the time like I am, having a good campsite means more than anything. It is like the ultimate luxury. It's like winning the lottery, so to speak. This area here is really, really nice. It's mostly flat. I have good placement of trees. Nothing's really in my way. The forest floor is not so thick, it's not like a jungle. This is the definition of winning right here. I've won the lotto today. It's funny. I just got done processing a big pile of firewood. I took a gamble on that, everyone. First off, everything here is soaking wet. Second, more rain is likely on the way. Speaking of which, roughly 20 minutes ago, I got a little bit of service and I checked the weather. It says heavy rain for tonight, up to 3/4 of an inch. So who knows? I went for it, we'll see what happens. More so than the weather, I'm concerned about just how wet this stuff is. And it's not just that fallen tree that's wet, it's everything in this forest. So I have a good pile of firewood, we'll just see how it goes. Cross your fingers and wish me luck. Something else that has me concerned is just how quiet the forest is. I mean, it's not 100% silent, but it's quiet enough where it seems like nature knows something that I do not. Everything's quiet, everything's hunkering down. And for this type of forest, that's uncommon. About the only thing that you can hear are the black flies that are flying around. Now, luckily with the black flies that we have here, they are very much like your common household black fly. They don't bite, nothing like that, they're just kind of annoying. No mosquitoes, no biting black flies. Really, there's nothing here that's of any sort of hindrance, any sort of nuisance, I guess I should say. My premonitions about the weather were correct. It just started raining. Outside of the forest, it's coming down fairly good, but it's going to take a while to penetrate the canopy here. The question that I have is this: is it only going to rain or is it going to storm? I mean, again, the forest is so quiet. It's almost eerie. Almost. It's not. While it's raining, I figured that we would sit here and talk a little bit. Listen and watch the flies fly around us, land all over the place. You know, luckily they're not too much of a nuisance. They don't bite or anything like that. They just land and crawl on you. That's about it. A few days ago, I received an email from a guy. He was wanting to get back into camping and whatnot. And he said that basically he would get ready for a trip, but the thought of like staying out overnight by himself in the forest was, you know, frankly scary. This is a fear that many people have, and it's completely understandable. When you're out in the forest, take this forest for an example. Dark, moody, very thick, odd-shaped trees, right? It wouldn't take much to set your nerves on edge, you know what I mean? Like an odd sound. A bump in the forest, a breaking twig. I told him that he needs to think about what exactly it is that he's fearing. Is it realistic or is it not? The same applies for you. Take those fears that you have and decide whether or not they're realistic or not realistic. And it's okay if they're not realistic, right? You could be out in the woods and the first thing that pops to your mind are monsters. That's how it is for me. Anytime that I hear something go breaking in the forest, I don't think, oh, that's a black bear. I think that's a werewolf or something like that. I know it sounds goofy, but it's true. Humans are known for having vivid, wild imaginations, and it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be realistic. Humans are simply not wired that way. So oftentimes our minds go to like the craziest of places, and that's why you have mythology and stories of gods and goddesses and explanations for things that are so wild, so crazy. So if you have a fear of coming out into the forest and staying out by yourself, ask yourself what those fears are. Be honest about it. Are they realistic? Are they not realistic? If you're afraid of someone walking into your campsite, well, Ask yourself why that is. Think of where you're camping at. Is that something that could happen? Why would that happen? Maybe you are afraid of animals. What animals do you have in the area that you plan to camp at? Bobcats, mountain lions, bears, coyotes. What's out there? And if that's the case, what can you do to protect yourself? What can you do to lessen the odds of an animal coming into your camp? Maybe it's a black bear situation. Follow the triangle rule. You sleep in one place, you eat in one place, and you hang your food in another place. Maybe you're camping in an area that has a high crime rate, so then you have to consider how are you going to protect yourself, or maybe not camp there at all. Maybe that's just not a good idea. But let's say that the fears that you have are not realistic. It's okay to be afraid of those things as well. And all you have to do is get out. You have to just simply do it. That first night out in the forest by yourself, you may not sleep at all. Every bump, every stick, the wind blowing, you might hear an owl that will scare you to death. You may not sleep at all. That's completely okay. That makes perfect sense. But I promise you, the more you do it, the easier it's going to become. It's like a muscle on your body. The more you work it out, the more toned and stronger it's going to get. That applies for your muscles and for your mind as well, along with your vivid imagination that's telling you all sorts of crazy stuff is taking place around you that's out in the forest that's wanting to get you. I was talking to my brother the other day, and he was saying how much he wants to get out and go camping by himself. And he asked me if I would go with him on the first couple of trips, just so that he can get accustomed to things, so I can show him the ropes, so to speak. While I spent much of my childhood out in the forest playing around, my brother did too, but he didn't camp much. Every once in a while he would stay out with me, but for the most part he didn't. He enjoyed playing video games much more than I did. I couldn't sit still for very long. I had to be out, I had to go explore. The forest has always been my happy place, so to speak. It was true when I was a kid, and it's true now that I'm an adult. This is my happy place. Come out to the forest all by myself. Now I welcome the sounds of the forest, and there's virtually nothing that scares me other than people. I think humans are the scariest thing in the entire world. First off, they make no sense at all. Oftentimes what they do has zero logic to it. I'd much rather be out here with the bobcat, with the bears, with the coyotes, the mountain lions. By the way, speaking of mountain lions, someone around here recently caught a picture on their trail camera of a massive mountain lion. It was a big old cat. To be honest with you, I have no desire at all to come into contact with a mountain lion. They are beautiful creatures, but I don't want to mess with any pissed off cats, you know what I mean? My friends, it is time for dinner. What I have today, or tonight I should say, slow cooked Australian steak, heated up in a bag with boiling water. And I have some British instant mashed potatoes, bubble and squeak. And I don't remember what exactly that means, bubble and squeak. If I had better service, I'd look it up. Bubble and Squeak. Comment down below, folks, let me know. I don't remember. This should be pretty good. As far as the weather goes, we're back up in the fog. It continues to rain. It's incredibly light. I mean, super, super light. Just enough to kind of drip off of the back of the tarp here. There's still a good breeze in the forest. It is, without a doubt, a very nice evening. Let's start with the mashed potatoes. Oh yeah, that's really good. For the life of me though, I cannot think of what Bubble and Squeak is. Carrot and onion? Is that it? I don't know. Now let's try the Australian steak. Based upon the smell of this, it's like a, it smells more like a roast than anything else. It smells good. So let's go mashed potato bite and a bite of this. Yep, that's exactly what it tastes like. It's like a roast with like a pepper gravy. It's good. The rain has begun picking up, everybody, and it makes me wonder, am I going to be able to have a fire tonight? The thing is this, I'm not going to have a fire underneath my tarp or even close to it. And that's because this is my protection. You don't fool around when it comes to your protection. An amateur gambles with their shelter, you know what I mean? What if I burn a hole in this tarp and it begins leaking, right? You just don't take chances like that. That's why you always have your fire away from your shelter. That way you can protect it, you can keep it safe. That way it can keep you safe and protect you. Well, my friends, it is now 8:10. Darkness is falling. It's raining out there. And I'm stuck underneath of the tarp. I knew it was a gamble to process the firewood, but I took it. That's okay. Sometimes, folks, that's how it goes. I had enough time to process the firewood right before it began pouring here. A little while ago, I got a little bit of service. I was able to check the radar, and it looks like more rain and showers are coming this way. So my plan is pretty simple. I'm just going to call it a night. It's dark. Might as well just turn in. There's nothing to do. I can't hang out outside of the tarp. You can hear it's raining. It's not all that heavy, but it's enough to soak you over time. This says here that the sun will be up at 6:55, so I will get up around 6:30 and plan my day from there. I'm not entirely sure what I will do from that point. I could potentially have a fire if it's not dripping, if it's not raining, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Might as well just go to sleep and we'll see what happens in the morning. It is foggy, everyone. Very, very foggy. I mean, it's so thick right now, you really can't see but maybe like 10 feet. If I had to hike out of here right now, it would be an absolute nightmare. It would be difficult. Not impossible, but difficult enough. Luckily, I know this area very well, but you can just see it just kind of like billowing out from the forest there. It seems like in just about every adventure, I speak about how much I enjoy being out in the forest, and that is so incredibly true. In a way, it's my happy place. At the same time, it's my sad place. It's my everything place. Maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't. I look back through my life, and every good moment and bad moment has resulted with me coming out into the forest. Every good moment, every bad moment, every tragedy, every heartbreak, every single time, every event, I come out into the forest and I spend my time not talking about it, walking it off. In life, there's some things that you simply cannot talk about to get through it. You just have to walk it off. You have to go step by step and put it behind you one way or another. When my first child was born, my daughter, I came out into the forest when I could. When my son was born, I came out to the forest. My first son. When my second son died, I came out to the forest as well. When my pets have passed away, same. When my grandmother passed away, who was very much like my mom, came out to the forest. I can think back to every one of those events, and I can think of like the corresponding time that I came out. Every single time, I'm thankful for the forest. I'm thankful for being able to get away, turn everything off, stop talking, think, process, just go through those events like you need to. Folks, I'm going to bed. I will see you all bright and early. I'm going to set my alarm for 6:30. I will see you all then unless something happens. Good night for now, folks. Thanks for joining me on this trip. Good morning, everyone. It is almost 2 o'clock in the morning, and as you all can hear, it's raining rather nicely. It has basically rained all night long, but just now is it really beginning to pick up. all in all, I'm very comfortable, well protected, and hopefully I'll be able to get some sleep. I'm not sure if that's possible because it's raining so hard, but we shall see. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is 7:30. Slept in a little bit. Why not, right? It's been pouring the rain all night long. Right now, it's just dripping from the trees, but still coming down. Officially, good morning, everyone. Some good coffee this morning. Perfect temperatures. It's chilly enough to have a fleece on and this jacket, and the toboggan. I thought it was interesting yesterday how silent the forest was. I mean, I didn't hear anything. Every once in a while, I would hear like a crow fly over, but that's about it. I didn't hear any red squirrels, no birds, nothing. That continued on throughout the night last night. I heard absolutely nothing. It was just silent up here. Something I've thought about the entire night was this pile of firewood. I put quite a bit of work into this. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to use it. If I stepped out from underneath the tarp right here, I would just get soaked. It's just dripping down. Everything around here is wet. That's okay. I'll leave this for another day. One day in the winter, I'll come out here. I'll be super glad that I have this pile of firewood. My hammock setup here did a great job. This is the One Tigress Compound. This is a very interesting hammock. First off, it's very inexpensive. This hammock has an unusual feature. On the inside, there's this layer of fabric that can be zipped up on both sides. And basically what that does is block wind and it holds in heat. It also blocks moisture. So I was able to utilize that last night just to stay a little bit warmer. It's a pretty nice system, especially when you consider the price of it. It's so low. I love being out in the fog and the mist, you know? You could just see it floating by. What a cool place to wake up at. Man, this place is just incredible. Let's see what the time is now. So it's almost 8:30. I think it's a good time to wrap this up and to say goodbye. I'm going to begin breaking down camp, finish up my coffee, and it's time to hike out of here. I came into the area from up there, but I'm going to go this way, go around, and then back up. That route is shorter, but this one is easier, so I'm going to take the easy route this morning. I would take you all with me, but because it's raining, that's a no-go. Everybody, I want to say thank you so much for joining me for this trip. I really do appreciate you all so much. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel a great deal. Consider subscribing if you want to. You can also support the channel on Patreon, on YouTube. The Outdoor Gear Review has never had a single sponsor, and it never will. The channel is fully supported by you all. So thank you all so much for making everything happen. I really do appreciate every single viewer and every single supporter. Those on Patreon and those on YouTube, the Wolfpack. In the future, an AQP version of this adventure will go up. That is my second YouTube channel, A Quiet Place Adventures. Make sure to check it out. Consider subscribing if you want to. On my second channel, A Quiet Place Adventures, I do no talking at all. It's all about nature and less to do with me. With those adventures, it's like you're right there with me in nature, and it's a fantastic way to relax, a fantastic way to go to sleep. So check it out. With that, cheers everyone, take care, be well, strength and honor. Bye for now.